Okay.
You ready? All right. It's 3:02. 14th day, Thursday evening of February. It's 3:02. We'll bring you a special session of Somervell County Commissioners Court to order. Let the record show Larry Hulsey, Dwayne Johnson, I have to think about that, Danny Chambers, Kenneth Wood, and Wade Bush are all present. And item number 1 on the agenda, discuss, take action, authorization to pay payroll and associated expenses for the 2nd of 15th to 2019 pay date. And before we dive off into that, I'd like to retrace some things that we did Monday along with payroll. We sort of had a semi-train wreck there, and let's try to be respectful, everybody, when we're discussing this. I just want to go on the record to make sure everybody understands that this governing body has not been and is not doing anything illegal. If we are inconsistent with the local government code, then that's what we will address and we will fix. We'll remedy the inconsistencies where we're at. Because as we all know, last August, September, there was a lot of research, a lot of discussion, a lot of time went in before we did that authorization of payment. And at that time, it's my understanding, I'm not putting any words in anybody's mouth, that everybody was good with that authorization of payment at that time. So we did what the governing body is presumed to be correct to stay consistent with the government code. Is that correct, or is that not correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
That's correct.
Yeah. All right. Now, when we left here Monday, I was under the impression, which is probably the wrong impression, that this payroll was going to be taken care of like all the previous payrolls after that October 1st, and then I was going to bring the court together. We were going to discuss how we were going to try to be inconsistent, more in line, what we were going to do on meetings to make sure everything was correct. And then I understand that I know it was late in the day, 2:30 Monday evening, when I found out that we were going to call a meeting to actually verify and approve this payroll for 2015.
When I left Commissioner's Court Monday and y'all went into an executive session, you told me you were going to have Pat put it on the agenda
What agenda?
for today.
Well,
And
it was the
11:30
next
is
one.
when we would have it done. I listened to it again today to
And,
make sure.
and when we
that
came,
was the last thing that was said to me
no,
whenever I left.
no. You remember after executive session when you were sitting in here?
Yes,
And we
after
discussed payroll?
executive session, and it was noon already.
Exactly.
And then I come back in here and I say, I'm really not comfortable because we have 2 new commissioners that didn't sign this,
Right.
and they're saying we're doing it illegally, so I'm not comfortable anymore.
Right. But when we
But
left
they-
here, our agreement between you and I, what I understood, maybe I was mistaken, between you and I was for this particular payday, you were going to presume move
We were going to
forward.
go ahead and do it illegally, is what was said.
That's the word. That wasn't said by me.
No, it wasn't said
That
by
was
you.
never
It was
said by me.
said by somebody that's up there that, and this whole thing is to protect me, to keep the liability off of me and Brian. And with the prior court, I was okay with that agreement that everybody signed. Because when somebody had a problem with me, they came to my office and we talked about it. It wasn't brought up in court all of a sudden that I was doing something illegal.
So did we miss?
So I don't feel comfortable not getting everything approved from now on.
All right. Did we miss, I guess, the 12 o'clock deadline that you told me we need for direct deposit?
Well, 11:30 is what you said whenever I left and y'all went into an executive
No, I'm talking about the
session.
deadline you have to meet
Yes,
for direct deposit. So we missed that today. So there'll be
Yes.
no direct deposits tonight.
that's right.
How do we make payroll tomorrow?
We got checks.
Have we notified all the elected officials, department heads, so they could so the
No.
road barn folks don't have a clue and they leave at 3 o'clock?
I
They
wasn't
don't
even
have a
sure
clue.
payroll would be approved at this point.
But you didn't even notify them that they may not have. So the ones that are used to having their paycheck on the 15th in the morning in their bank account, it will not be there, and they don't have an excuse or a reason why it's not going to be there.
No.
And that falls directly on us, which is what I didn't want to happen. We, Our problems and issues are good. You know, we fight amongst each other. I'm good with that. But we have now drug, over 130 innocent employees that didn't have a say in this,
Well,
and we affected their pay. How many is direct deposit? What's the percentage roughly? Half?
more than half.
So 75-80% of people don't have a clue in the
Most
morning.
people have already notified my office because they already know. And I don't know how that happened. How did y'all know?
Word of mouth. I mean,
But officially, we didn't notify
No,
anybody.
I didn't
Officially,
notify
nobody
anybody.
knows. Are we going to do that this evening before we leave here
I
today?
can do that.
I think a lot of it came out with the agenda. Because I know this, as soon as the agenda went out, I got questioned by Sonia in the clerk's office because they saw the agenda. And so I think
That makes
may have-
sense. That makes sense.
That may have happened.
because
right
we were
there.
under the same impression that it was taken care
Well, Frank's already called me, and sheriff's office knows, fire department knows.
Did Brady
So,
know to let the road barn know?
I don't know.
of. You also got to think too that some of the people that were in here did represent some other departments as well, and they witnessed what went down here.
That's my biggest problem.
But I don't
is,
know what
is the employees that were innocent bystanders in this that we drug into this. That's my biggest problem. Okay. Now we got another meeting for the 19th that we're going to discuss in depth about how we're going to meet, when we're going to meet, when you'll have everything ready for us to, look at how they want to review it. They want to have more than 2.5 hours, because if we meet at 9:30 and approve it, then at noon you're going to start making direct deposits. Correct?
Before noon.
I know, but that's what I'm saying. They may want you to have it ready beforehand. They may want to be able to review it long time ahead.
Well, that's not possible.
Oh,
unless
really?
I send out the timesheet schedule at the first of the fiscal year, and I can redo that.
We may have to look at how we do everything, how we do our payment process, how we do our payroll process, and it'll be totally up to the court. We'll discuss that on the 19th, and we'll figure out how they want to structure this to bring it together where we stay hopefully in line with the government code.
You know,
Have I
I
said
know a
anything
lot of-
wrong at all? Out of line?
A lot of counties went to, paying once a month.
Really?
Yeah. So
All right.
there's lots of options out there.
And
then I
we'll
don't
discuss
know-
that on 19th, because I don't have that on here to discuss the dates and how we're going to do it.
And
but
I don't know how long it's going to be before they get the bill changed.
I have a question.
if I can answer it or if they can answer it.
How did we go from when we left here that we were going to continue to do business as y'all have in the past through this pay deal, and we would get it worked out before the next pay schedule? Somebody took it upon themselves without telling anybody else that things changed. And I feel you're to blame for that, because we said we were going to continue as we were. So if
Doing things illegally.
it doesn't matter. We said we would continue.
I'm not going to do anything illegal. I'm not
It falls
going to do
upon
anything
us.
that you think
Here's the
is
thing.
illegal.
Here's the
Let's
thing.
try to be
Here's
respectful.
the problem.
The-
It doesn't fall on you. It falls on us. That's why we want to see the payroll. That's why we want to see the bills. If something's wrong, it doesn't come after you. It comes after us.
It must come after me.
It comes after this court.
I'm liable for the checks that I sign.
That's why we approve. Any bills paid, this court approves. You're not liable. We are.
Okay.
And you changed what we discussed upon yourself. And I feel like you manipulated the system to your advantage to go, we'll show you.
No, I didn't do that at
You
all.
didn't talk to anybody. You
I
did
didn't.
it.
I didn't feel like,
You
if
did.
you thought it was illegal, I didn't feel like that I was.
Well,
this-
Susie, and I know we can't belabor this issue a whole lot today, but why didn't you come to me right then immediately and say, Danny, I'm not doing this? And at noon, the quickest I could have got us together would have been probably 12:01, maybe
No, it was
12:15.
after 12 when I was still sitting out there in the hall and y'all hadn't called everybody back.
Well, did you know
From executive
before
session.
executive session? Did you know when you walked out of here that morning that you were not comfortable with the way we were doing payroll?
I knew I wasn't comfortable about it, but I wanted to think about
That's
it.
my
a little
biggest
bit.
issue. Why didn't you come right straight to me and say, Danny, I'm not doing this? And I said, oh, we'll call another meeting so people don't get drug into this as innocent
We
bystanders.
still didn't have time to do it before 12.
But you said when you left here, You said we're going to continue to do it the same way, and I said,
didn't say that.
yes, you did. I said, yes, that's fine. You said, thank you.
Okay, we're not
Your
solving
exact
it.
words.
Hey, listen,
Yeah.
we're not solving anything here.
And that's the biggest problem. And you're right.
What's happening is
And
happening.
with all due
We're
respect,
going
I
to do
mean,
something.
the last paragraph of the resolution states, if any commissioner, any, didn't say former, didn't say current, it says any commissioner objects, then it ceases, it stops. Because again, that, like Susie said, it was to protect us two more than it was to protect this group, because ultimately, if this group says, hey, we didn't authorize a payment, then it's going to be us on the hook for signing the checks. Okay, so I mean, at the very, very least, you have to categorize the discussion at the last meeting as at best an objection. And that kicked in that last paragraph. So I don't think this all rests at Susie's lap. I mean, it's really just a fault.
And one more thing before we move on, because you're right, we're not fixing any problems here today. We'll deal with that Monday. All the sections in the government code and all the statutes that we're dealing with, I know y'all know them a lot better than I do. You look at them; they were put in place in 1987 and 2011. There's 230 counties that's under 190,000 people. So, what I'm trying to say is this problem just didn't arise itself
No.
as of.
And I thought we had it worked out and we were all comfortable with it.
Okay.
The problem arose, as you know, is when Walker County's auditor, Blaney auditor, Walker County's auditor sent a request for an Attorney General's opinion.
Yes, I've got that.
And as
yes.
we've discussed, and that came out, I think, about a year and a half ago.
August 8th of 17.
Yes. And then, and of course, I mean, an Attorney General's opinion is not litigation.
That's exactly
It's not
right.
a determination of what's legal or not legal.
Right.
It's just an interpretation.
Right.
And we can have opinions.
Yep.
It just simply means that if it were to be litigated, that would be the expectation of the Attorney General's position.
Where he would stand.
Where he would stand. Right. And not to be sexist, yes.
Right.
And of course, somebody else would argue a different opinion.
Yes.
And then the judge would ultimately determine who's right and who's wrong.
Right.
And of course, counties are not, and yes, they were amended back during that time, but really some of these statutes are 100 years old.
Yes.
Okay, and so they didn't envision a county that accepted credit cards and had credit card fees automatically deducted from their bank accounts.
Direct deposit.
They didn't envision counties with credit cards
Right.
that have due dates that are firm. So a lot of things have changed in the way counties operate from they were 100 years ago. So that's why we're caught in this, and that's why the Attorney General's opinion created this bow wave.
And hopefully they fix it this year, and then it'll go into effect either immediately, September 1st or January 1st.
Nothing's immediate.
And we will,
it's
well, by
always-
2/3 of vote. They say, if they pass by 2/3, it'll be immediate. If not, September. If not, January. But they have.
Yeah.
Anyhow. All right, back to the actual discuss, take action, which we have discussed in depth. Authorization to pay payroll and associated expenses. The payroll has been presented to us. If you like what you saw and agree to it, then we would need a motion to pay payroll.
I'll make the motion.
I have a motion by Larry to make payroll for February 15th, 2019. Do I
And
have a-
associated expenses.
and associated expenses. I guess that includes taxes and, all right. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further question or discussion? All in favor of said motion? That's 5 for, 0 against. Approved budget transfers.
There are none.
There's one for payroll. Number 3, pay county bills.
I emailed those to you this morning. We have bills totaling $12,646.58.
Do I have a motion to pay our county bills?
So moved.
I have a motion by Wade. Do I have a second?
Yes.
I have a second by Larry. All in favor of said motion? That's 5 for, 0 against. There's the documents for the bills that we need to pay or sign. And like I said, I think I said Monday. I meant Tuesday the 19th. If I said Monday, I meant Tuesday the 19th. That's when we'll discuss in depth about the future meeting dates, how we're going to set them up. Are we going to get payroll approved, or we don't
It's
get?
gonna be a commissioners court meeting?
Yes, it's 9:30, and it has grown since it's been put. And right now, I have a meeting scheduled also for the 27th, which will give us a day right before the 28th payroll. But if commissioners decide not to do that, then we'll.
And if they need more time to review.
That's the other big issue, if what they want, how long they want to actually look at payroll before they make a decision and vote on it. Well, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Kenneth. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Dwayne. All in favor? That is 5 for, 0 against at 3:18.
Wade to the, just Road and Bridge, get off that
And I
plate.
guess you probably want to remember to turn the recorder off.
I'll tell them first thing in the morning. Well, they'll know first.